What's going on, YouTube? It's Brendan from Market Makers, your home for Wyckoff, an advanced pattern trading TA. The markets were up today, guys. We're going to focus on a Wyckoff analysis here for Bitcoin. But really quick, I wanted to share with you what we've been working on the last couple weeks. You've heard me talk about it. It's our website, guys. Here's our promo code at the top you can use. You can visit us at marketmakers.trade or use the link in the video description. And we do upload free content as well. And we're plugged into our Discord. You can see we have 831 members online looking at our education material, looking at trade signals. And a lot of people are asking, how do we communicate the education? We do a combination of live streams, videos, and of course, live TA, as well as trade signals. I worked really hard to get a fantastic professional staff. We have an Elliott Wave trader, a GAN trader, myself, a harmonics trader, and of course, Ricardo, who owns a market analytics company in real life. He does our block state updates and our news, and all that content is on our Discord. If you want to check it out, it is zero risk, zero obligation, and definitely visit the website because we do post free material there. One area I want to show you is under About. Go to Testimonials. If you go to testimonials, you can see some of our trade signals over here on the left that were published on TradingView. Scroll down. These are actual members in our room, unpaid testimonials. Okay, these are people in our room that talk about what they learn and what their experience has been in our room. Highly suggest you check it out because these markets can be very lucrative, guys. And education is your freedom. Education is your path to financial freedom. And definitely check out BitGet, of course. That link is in the video description to trade anonymously in these markets. Don't worry about country restrictions because there are none. So let's look at Bitcoin and talk about what's going on in the marketplace. So the NASDAQ was up almost 2% today. The Russell was up over 1.5 points. Basically, they all fluctuated between a point and a half, 2 points. So that's where we're at. And Bitcoin started pumping here in our ascending channel. Now, I woke up today, and then, of course, my phone tracks what I watch. So I have all these pop-ups, and I see this is the common theme now. Bear flag, right? And they're taking the flagpole. This is on the weekly time frame. They're dropping it down, saying 15K, 17K, 13K for Bitcoin. Well, guys, as you know, if you watch this channel, we've been in this ascending channel pattern now for 3 months. Okay, these are weekly candles. 3 months. We have a bullish accumulation line, and this is highly tradable. See, this is the difference of tracking things as a trader or tracking things as somebody with like a long-term timeline, right? So tracking things as a trader, this is 32.9. This is 48,266. I mean, you're dealing with a 15, 16,000 point range in here. You can take trades up and down in this marketplace. So what we're doing here on that weekly, as you guys know, we may have validated this ABC pattern already. This 48,266 may be the ceiling, but if we do turn more bullish and move back up, interesting to note before we jump to the daily, the top of your channel basically intersects with target 1, the 382 at 52,117, okay? Will it get there? I think you have to be in a super bullish environment for this to get there, okay? Because we had the third strongest bear market rally in stock market history, and Bitcoin got to 48,266, as you know, and dumped, okay? So that's what I think. That was a 20% down move. Let's go ahead and look at the daily. So the daily, yesterday we talked about setting our chart up for success. Today we're going to focus on Wyckoff concepts and remove some of this stuff, okay? But just a quick recap, we do have this bullish accumulation line, as you can see, and we have our Fibonacci structure here as well. And if you look at this Fibonacci line, see this Fibonacci line for 382? That drew that kind of crooked. And then you have your ascending line. This is an ascending triangle, okay? So this in and of itself is a small micro bullish pattern here on the daily where you should flip it here, get above the 382, make an LPS, and then propel yourself to the next key level of resistance, which is the 618 at 44,024. And then you would most likely retrace in this region, hold this area as a backup, get some more accumulation, and then propel yourself for the next key level of resistance, which is the 1 fib at 48,266, as well as with the 200 simple moving average. So that's essentially your key market steps, these 3 boxes. Remember, view the market in segments, doing this in a bullish fashion. And of course, at any one of these levels, including the 382 where you are now at 41.4, you can turn down. If you get rejected here, and if you lose this Gann support line, guys, you are going deeper down into the tranche. And as you guys know, if you lose 32.9, you are going into the 20s. Okay. So let's go ahead and remove some of this stuff and let's talk about Wyckoff and let's talk about these expectations. Let's get rid of the fibs. Let's go ahead and mute these moving averages really quickly. And I'll show you this here with these Gann angles on, and then I'll turn them off. So if we go ahead and take our Wyckoff range here, now you see the broader Wyckoff range. This is our accumulation, right? So we have the base here, this white line on our selling climax candle, denote it right here. And then we have the reaction. Remember, one of Wyckoff's 3 laws is action, reaction. Your action is your selling climax. Your reaction is the reverse. Remember, snapping back that rubber band and you make a ceiling. This is where we got to with that LPS. And from here, you want to accumulate and go up. Okay. But we ran into trouble with volume. The fact that this was a low volume retail rally, just like the markets were, and we made a top and we had a key level of the fib, a 100% retracement. And of course, we fell and descend. Okay. But we're making some other patterns here. And one thing I want you to see with Wyckoff, you have this broader accumulation pattern. Okay. Now, if you go ahead and take this smaller range here on the daily time frame, lots of accumulation / distribution areas are in fact Wyckoff concepts. Okay. So you're an accumulation or distribution, markdown or markup. And if you go ahead and mark this off, even though this isn't a great selling climax candle because you have a lot of candle, you don't have a lot of wick, mark off your ceiling, you can see your trading range. And just to walk you through this, selling climax candle, automatic reaction, you get a sign of weakness, back down to a down thrust. Now you get a sign of strength. Now what you want to do is come out and flip this box, right? You want to flip this box and make an LPS just like you did before. This is a smaller area that we're looking at, but you want to have the same steps, make an LPS, then propel price up here to challenge this next key level. I guess I shouldn't have taken these fibs off. So let me show you this like this. Challenge that next key level of resistance, as you can see right here at this 618. Okay, the 618 and the 233, throwing these back on. And you can see if price does come up here, form an LPS just like this, most likely it's going to hit retracement. It's going to have resistance. So it candles up and it'll start curling back down, usually in a cup type fashion. This will give you your second box. And then you want to accumulate and then propel yourself up to tackle this next key level of resistance at the 1 fib at 48,266. Okay. So these are your 3 key boxes that you want to see Bitcoin make in a bullish fashion. And of course, at any one of these, Bitcoin can fail. Okay. And if Bitcoin fails at any one of these and you lose this Gann support line that you've been trading in this ascending fashion, you're going back down to this lower tranche. And realistically, you're going to be heading back down all the way back down to 32.9. And if you lose that, as you know, on the weekly, you're going into the 20s at that level. Okay. So let's go ahead and delete these angles. Give some more space here. And one other pattern I want you guys to see here is the 3 rising valleys pattern again, okay? So if you just start from here, you have your valley, okay? Then you have your peak. Now you have a higher low, your valley, and you have a higher peak. This is a bullish pattern, okay? Now we have a higher low again. If we do break this peak and do break 48,266, that target that you're looking at there, I think it's going to be about 55K at the 1618. Let me show you that right here. Yeah, 1618, 55, 128. Okay. That's if you continue this bullish accumulation pattern here for price in an ascending angle. Again, remember, macro downtrend, micro uptrend. Now, again, what do I think will happen? What I am biased to believe based on the price action, what makes most sense to me based on the bearish nature of the overall markets is price will come up in a rally. I think the 618 at 44K, here with the 233, there with the Gann angle as well. I think this is a likely point for price to get to and then begin to retrace, making this a lower high, lower than this 48,266, and then you would see the beginning of another leg down. And again, the markets are tracking very similar to this as well. If I go ahead and throw this on here on the Russell, you can see the Russell is also on Wyckoff. There's its failed LPS. There's its accumulation, upward accumulation, just like Bitcoin, and it's looking to try to get back up above the Wyckoff trading range. And again, the 233 and 200 are just above it. Okay, key test for the Russell, key test for Bitcoin. So what will this look like on a smaller time frame? It'll look like this. 4 hour time frame. Okay, you can do Wyckoff on any time frame. This is a smaller range for Wyckoff, but you can see the trading range. The same principles apply here. Okay, selling climax candle, reaction gives you a ceiling. You tried to break out already, make an LPS, just ended up being a series of up thrusts. You get a sign of weakness, trading range all the way back down to a shakeout candle, a spring. You spring back up, and on the 4 hour time frame, you are above the Wyckoff trading range, and you are trying to hold that 382. That's what you really need to get above. You see this? You hold that 382. Now, if price comes back down on the 4 hour and does exactly what I said, makes like a cup type pattern here, accumulates cup type pattern, it's going to propel up, try to defeat the 0.5 at 42.7, and then just like the other time frame, the daily, the 618 at 44K, that's your ultimate target. So again, on a micro trend level, smaller time frame than the daily, you are doing something very bullish right now in Bitcoin. But like I said, I do believe it has a ceiling. So just be aware of that. Let's go ahead and look at our indicators here on the daily and see exactly where we are at. On the daily time frame, I want to look at some volume with you guys. Okay, so let's do some volume. Actually, we'll look at Ichi first, and then we'll look at the volume. So Ichi, on the daily time frame, as you can see, thin cloud, just like we talked about for weeks. We wrapped around, punched through it, couldn't hold it, fell back down, and fell through the cloud. And of course, punched back through the cloud because there's literally market equilibrium here, right? There's not a lot of support, not a lot of resistance, and price is trying to stay up above the cloud. If you can get up and roll over this cloud, one thing that's interesting, remember, Ichi is a predictive indicator. You can see this cloud is not very thick here again. Okay, there's not a lot of support or resistance here. So looking at that, that is an area that, anything can happen here in the marketplace. And of course, you can fall through any size cloud as well. Okay, so just be aware of that. A lot of people ask me questions about my Ichi. You can go to DW Indo, INDO, and you can see the Ichi there, DW Indo. Okay. I change a couple things like colors and, not DW Indo, DW. Let me just type in Ichi. Forget what it's called now, how he has it labeled. There he is. IDO. IDO. So DW. So you can go to Donovan Wall's page. I have a lot of his indicators, and I don't have the moving averages on at all, but I do change the colors, but I leave the cloud settings alone. I don't alter my Ichi settings for crypto. Okay, that's not how it was designed. It was designed to be a static time frame. You don't blow out the clouds because then you get very inaccurate levels of support and resistance, as you guys may see on other YouTubers' channels. So let's look at this again with some volume now. Let me go ahead and turn this off. And let's look at the Nubia, my VWAP strategy. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. So we have a lot of sell pressure right there at the 233 as well. You can see the heavy line of sell pressure stretching through the top. This is a supply, essentially. Supply lines just coming through here, okay? Your demand lines are down here. So you need to get above this Wyckoff trading range to have some more, be in more demand areas, demand zones. Again, this is all supply demand zones, but you can see this area is pretty narrow, right? I mean, that's kind of indicative of the fact that there's not a lot of support here either. So this area is narrow between your top and your bottom. So this will be really hard to break up above. And let's go ahead and turn that off. The one I really want to look at is a VPVR, volume profile. Now, when you're using your volume profile, be aware these levels change and the point of control changes the more candles you pull in, okay? So I want to keep this range pretty tight. This goes back here, let's say to December 27th. So it's the last few months because I want to see where I'm at here in current trend. If you look at the point of control where the peak volume is, it's the resistance right above you. You see that? That's why you get up there and then you start losing it on a candle wick. So the resistance right above you is peak volume. Now, it's also worth noting the way that you got up here before was because you were able to tackle this volume resistance and this deficit. You see that deficit? That's that pump candle that gets you up here. And of course, your volume peaks back out here, which puts volume across here as resistance. Remember, volume is resistance and support. So flipping heavy trading areas is very good for support. And then when you come in confrontation with other confluences of resistance, it's very bearish. Okay. It's very bad. It's a lot of resistance to try to rise above the volume because obviously you pull this in, more volume will pop out. And you can really see it here in this picture what your key volume areas of resistance are to a rise. Okay, let me get rid of this and get rid of that and get rid of that. My OCD is real. And I mean, that's a perfect image. You see this? This is what you're up against right now. You got to pump through this volume, find this deficit right here to get back above your Wyckoff trading range, and then try to tackle this volume. And if you do, there's less volume, less resistance for a rise, which makes sense, which is why I told you 55K is in play. If you can get up on top of the Wyckoff range, 55K is just up here, and you have a volume deficit to get there. So you can get there if you can get through this. That's the problem. And to get through all this, you got to get through 44K, which is right at the top of this high volume trading range with the 618, with the 233. Again, an area I expect this upward trend to potentially end. Okay. And let's look at our actual indicators on the chart as well. So you can see our volume is declining from the selling breakout candle here from left to right. Volatility is starting to contract, which is good. And your moving average is moving up towards the upside, which gives you a bias for a potential move up. You need volatility contraction for that explosive move. So we'll see how this plays out, guys. This is going to be a time factor thing. We got to see what happens here on time. But, you know, if the other markets can stay bullish, can get more momentum, gain some more strength, Bitcoin's going to attempt to move up. How high it gets is going to heavily depend on how it handles these key resistance levels, key fib retracements, and, you know, again, the key moving averages for long term. The one fib at 48,266 and the 618 at 44,024. All right, guys, that's your video today. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Good hanging out with you as always. Another video coming tomorrow. Talk to you guys then. Have a great night.